Chapter 12. "It seems obvious to me," said Attila the Hun, lying on the bed in a relaxed state. Machiko Noguchi stopped her pacing. She looked at her android warily. Since that little flying stunt a couple of hours before, she was seeing him in an entirely different light. She knew he'd had a life before she bought him. She didn't know about the programs that still existed inside him. What other residues of past talents, past memories, existed? Attila insisted he had no memory of being able to do what he did. At the time his sensors detected trouble, something had just kicked in, and he'd had access. This was something they would have to explore. For now, though, there were other matters to attend to. "Well, I'm glad. Would you care to enlighten me?" she said, hands on hips. "You'll have to pardon me, but I'm merely operating on what you tell me about these hunters, your tales of experiences with them." Yes, go on." "Well, it strikes me that they've got a fairly simple game plan. They like to find likely opponents, likely places to perform their rituals of honor. And frankly, think about it. Bleor is perfect. If their lives are the feral art they consider them, then for predators this must be a masterpiece planet." "A what?" Machiko asked. "Masterpiece planet. It sounds as if Ryushi was being used as a training ground for young hunters." She nodded. "Blooding. That was their apprentice work then. Whatever the word has come to mean since then, a masterpiece used to be the article a craftsperson made to earn his or her master status. Bleor is the place hunters may earn master status, in effect." She nodded. "Yes, well, that's pretty obvious, but go on for a minute. Any other thoughts?" "Yes. The reason it's a masterpiece planet is there's nothing the predators like to hunt better than other hunters. It's the ultimate challenge, right?" "That's right. Unlike our race, they won't hunt innocent things, except possibly food. A noble breeze." Sardonic twist of phrasing. "Anyway, somehow they discovered the operations on Bleor, and they saw what a perfect place to hunt it would be. But why bring on the bugs as well? A little twist, a little spice, who can say? Perhaps this was a world where they'd already hunted bugs before, and they were just returning." She shook her head. "No, I don't think so. If there were bugs on this planet before, there would have been a spillage. That's one of the problems when the Preds play with the things. They get loose and start breeding. Sloppy sorts. Let's just say that their sense of honor is a bit tunnel-visioned. So they're here, and they know now that we know they're here. I think that's what the lawyer was so excited about, and unless my guess is wrong, Evanston's got a suspicion as well." "More than a suspicion. I mean, he has physical evidence." "Yes. He somehow seems to know you're associated with them." "I don't think he knows as much as he strongly suspects." "It stands to reason. After what happened." She let out a breath, shook her head. "The pieces still aren't there." "Seems pretty pat to me," said Attila. "He's got problems with anomalous intelligent creatures, as well as the bugs, and he's just trying to get this project off the ground. Can you imagine the bad publicity if word gets back to civilization? Why, this business venture would be a total bust. Who would want to go hunting on a world where the hunters are the victims? I dare say that Evanston is a rich man, but no matter how rich he is, I'm sure he couldn't afford a failure on this magnitude." Attila nodded. "A man like Livermore Evanston takes time to get you to help. You know it's got to be this magnitude of importance." "That does work, logically. But there's another level." "Something intuitive?" "Yes. That T-Rex. Not a curious resurrection. Ideal if you think of it. What with the taste for hunting as it is, I would think that resurrected dinosaurs would be perfect for hunting." "Yes, of course. I'm talking, though, about the level of sophistication a biolab needs to create the size and scope of a Tyrannosaurus Rex." "You're saying that it could create a lot more. Well, isn't that the idea? To create fantastical and wonderful creatures for rich people to shoot?" "You're not getting the point. What else can it create? Why is Evanston being so secretive? Why won't he let us look at the inside of that big biolab factory?" "He hasn't refused. Just his underlings." "Well then, I guess that's the next bit on our agenda, isn't it? We're going to have to ask. And if you won't let us see what's inside? She smiled. Then we'll have to find out on our own, won't we? And we'll know that something intriguing is there. Of course I'll take you through the factory tomorrow morning if you like, said Livermore Evanston, absently tapping ash from his cigar. There are more serious matters that have to be dealt with immediately, though. The large man leaned over his intercom, hit a button. Would you send in Brookings and Zorski, please? Machiko had to work hard to maintain a blank expression. This wasn't exactly what she'd expected. Attila was going to give her a great big "I told you so" when she let go this bit of news. Evanston was sitting in a comfortable ergonomic chair, in a comfortable smoking jacket. His perch in his office building gave him a panoramic view of most of the beautiful, growing expanse of this fabulous settlement that would soon be one of the more wondrous cities in the universe. Evanston did not look like his usual happy and confident self. The teak-panelled door opened. A man and a woman entered. One Machiko recognised, the man who had come to them and talked with Evanston on their arrival. The woman, though, was a different matter entirely. She looked like the kind of corporate sharpshooter that Machiko was supposed to have been. A company woman, from sleek black hair to perfectly manicured fingers. Introductions were made and remade. Abner Brookings, lawyer, meet. Chelsea Zorski, head of operations, meet. Hello, Machiko. I hope you can help us. Good to meet you. I did some of the background work to dig you up. You can just call me Chet. Sit down. Have a drink. Tea or coffee or harder stuff, I don't care. It's time not just to think tank this situation. It's time to take action. They all looked like drinking people. However, they all passed over the ample supply of liquor squatting atop a corner cabinet like a model of a city of multicoloured skyscrapers. Instead, they all went for coffee. Black. When it was steaming and aromatic before them, as Machiko took the first few acrid sips, she studied this woman, Chet Zorski. First and foremost, she was a corporate shark. Machiko could smell that as she walked in. It was in her perfume and shampoo, her very breath. The shine of her eyes, the flash of her perfect teeth, the tailored hang of her clothing. These people could have been made in a biolab factory for all she knew. They had the perfection of pre-modelling about them. Zorski had a cleft chin, a square jaw, a nose as perfectly angular as could possibly be desired, bright blue eyes, wide cheekbones, a shock of black hair, bland stuff in general, but the congruence gave her a sharp and feral look, and the flashing of teeth made her look bright and hungry beneath the smoothness. We hope you're well situated, said Evanston. Yes. You've met your people, said Zorski. Had a little dust-up with one, I hear. Good for morale. Absolutely. So what do you think of them? Motley, but they'll do. Zorski beamed a little at that. Good. I thought you'd be able to look past the rough edges. I looked for a lot of special qualities in these men. Experience being paramount. Experience with the bugs, you mean? Zorski looked at Evanston as though for permission. Evanston nodded. Yes, the bugs. Look, there's some things we've got to talk about. Yes, it's time to level with you, Noguchi. She was taken aback. There was no longer confidence and control in Livermore Evanston's face. He looked, in fact, a bit at a loss, a bit desperate. Machiko sat back in her chair, maintaining her calm, hard facade. I'm listening. It's not just the bugs. Evanston turned to Abner Brookings. Please, Abner, tell Miss Noguchi what happened the other day. He swiveled to deliver a sincere stare at Machiko. With this caveat. As my employee, you are directed not to discuss this with any other employees or guests. It's of a quite sensitive nature. What about my people and my assistant? Only if absolutely necessary for the men. However, your assistant is an android and clearly secure. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Abner. It's your show. Thank you. Miss Noguchi, I'm one of the head lawyers for Mr. Evanston, a highly trusted employee. There are a lot of legal things that have to be worked out for this new world, of course, in its interface with the rest of the galactic civilization. That's my job. However, I also quite fancy myself a bit of a hunter. and so I take a bit of vacation here from time to time. I was on just such an expedition a few days ago, and that's when this awful incident happened." Machiko listened as Brookings told his story. A safari, invisible attackers, death, himself the only survivor. When he was finished, a silence fell upon the meeting. Mr. Brookings was given a thorough evaluation by psych techs afterward. "It would appear, Miss Noguchi," said Evanston somberly, "that indeed we are not the only hunters on Bleor. Indeed, these other hunters, presumably aliens since there are no extant civilizations on this planet, are the source of the bug problem as well." He looked significantly at Chet Zorsky. "Yes, Machiko, and as you might have expected, that's one of the reasons you were selected. We believe you know who these creatures are, and how to deal with them." She looked at them all, one by one. She said nothing, stare for stare. They looked away. "I should emphasize," said Zorsky, "that we are not prying into your past, your background. We do not want a confession here. We are just asking for knowledge. And for help." "And for you to do your job," added Evanston. "Or bail out and take off, as our agreement states?" Machiko asked. Evanston frowned. "That's up to you." "No, wait," objected Brookings. "I worked up the language in that contract. There's a clause—" "Yes," snapped Evanston. "A clause that I took out." "It's not as if she can really go anywhere you don't want to take her," said the lawyer in a cold voice. "Look, Brookings, I need the best we can get from this talented woman. I told you, no goddamn legal tricks." He snorted. "Like the law has that much value out here." "That's the idea. It's elastic. That's why I'm here," said the lawyer. "To help you form it into the shape that's best for you." "Look, if I want to get out of this place, there are other ways than going up," said Machiko. Gentle people," said Zorsky, a conciliatory smile on her face. "Please, I don't think you need to worry about Miss Noguchi's enthusiasm for this particular project. You see, I chose her very well. I think we have her fascinated. Very enthusiastic leader on our hands now. Don't we, Miss Noguchi?" "Yes, damn you." She couldn't help but smile. Brookings shook his head. "I don't understand. This is going to be dangerous, I assure you. What I went through. These bastards are dangerous." "Please, let's just say I have the feelings these aliens are old allies, old enemies of our employee," said Zorsky. "And besides, she's so much better off than she was before, under the shackles of the company." "Don't worry. I'm here to do a job, and I intend to do it, and do it as well as I can." Livermore Evanston visibly relaxed. "You can bet I'm glad to hear that, my dear. We need you." "Okay, now level with me. What more do you know about these hunting aliens?" "Much less than you do, clearly," said Brookings. Machiko looked from face to face. All were unreadable. "Well, I guess I should be grateful for what I've gotten out of you gentlemen. Now, thank you for the coffee. Maybe I should get my force whipped into shape so we can do something about scouting out this situation? Meantime, I look forward to that tour of the biofactory tomorrow." "Why are you so interested in what's going on there?" said Brookings. "It's just in her nature," said Zorsky. "Extreme curiosity." "No, I really think we're due an answer," insisted Brookings. She didn't think she should tell the whole story, since she was sure they weren't spilling all their beans. "We were doing recon. Something came up while I was checking the area." "You just let her look around?" demanded Brookings. "Yes, I gave her permission personally," said Zorsky. "And after getting the okay from his nibs here." She pointed playfully towards Evanston. "Well, I appreciate that, but let me tell you, I saw something very troubling." "Don't leave us dangling so," said Brookings sarcastically. "I saw a dinosaur." She gave the creep the glare he deserved. A Tyrannosaurus Rex, to be specific. "Ah," said Zorsky. "The T-Rex." "Not surprising. A big creature," said Evanston. Brookings looked a bit taken back. But those things are extinct. Precisely, said Machiko, which means that biolab is doing some pretty heavy-duty stuff. Wow, that's truly big game, said Brookings, looking a little disconcerted, but at the same time excited at the prospect of actually bagging a dinosaur. Yes, as I told you, we want to make things interesting for our guests, said Evanston. Of course, I understand, and you did explain that. I only just thought that you might be manufacturing creatures of interest to these mysterious hunting aliens, these predators, as it were. Evanston was all smiles again. Of course, I'd never thought of that. And you'd be the person to distinguish that, wouldn't you? Excellent. As I said, I'll give you the tour myself, to be as much help as possible. Tomorrow morning. That's right, tomorrow. Right after you get back from your maneuver, Machiko. What? I haven't even gone through any training with these guys, said Machiko. Suddenly this business with the biolab factory wasn't a primary concern. You'll do it on the fly, said Evanston, because tomorrow my hired mercenaries are going out to scout the area where Brookings and his band were attacked. Chetzorsky pulled out a map.